Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Mizuki Arts. Today we're going to be doing the long-awaited video discussing some of my art that I've done in college so far. For those of you who haven't watched my channel before or just don't know, I am in a college right now studying for my associates in illustration. I only have one semester left. And that's, if everything goes well and everything, but I only have one semester left, and yeah, I'm very excited about a lot of the work that I've done so far and a lot of what I've learned. I'll share as much of it as I've done so far as I can now. It was between either waiting until I graduated to show you guys everything or splitting it into kind of like two videos. And it seemed like the consensus was that you guys wanted to see as much of it as you could now, and then the rest later. So I'm going to try to somewhat organize things into different classes, but it may be just kind of all over the place. I'm going to start with one of the classes that I took last spring. It isn't the first art class that I did in college. I am going to kind of bounce around, like I said, just because there's so much art, and also because some of it's really, really big, and I kind of want to start with what can fit on my desk, really. So I'm going to start with my ceramics class. So for this assignment, we had to build like an oval vessel of sorts, like hand building, not on the wheel. So that meant taking coils of clay and wrapping them upwards. And I decided to go with like a very oceanic theme. I used like this funky blue and brown glaze, and then I did like a milky white glaze for like the sea foam and the little, like, I don't know what these are called, like mussels or whatever. I'm not sure. Um but yeah, I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. I don't have a lot from this class, and there's two reasons for that. One, I did not spend a lot of time in the studio, which, I had a lot of other things going on, and the studio was always really, really crowded. And then the second reason was that I had a whole bunch of bowls and mugs that could have been fired after having been glazed. But my professor said that since the glaze I had used was not food safe, she couldn't fire them. She said she was worried about one day someone in the far future, long after I'm dead, using the bowls for like food or something and then getting poisoned. And I suggested I could write on the bottom like not food safe or whatever, and she said that wasn't good enough. So those bowls just ended up going in the garbage. But here's kind of like a turnaround view of this piece. I am happy with it, even if it's kind of crooked and awkward. And then this was my other finished assignment from that semester. Our assignment was to use like a pattern to cut out a bunch of different shapes and then turn them into a non-representative piece. So this is like a funky little wall hanging, or I guess you could use it like on an easel, like display it on an easel or of some sort. And I chose like this funky little fish shape or like leaf shape, and then I scored and slipped them together and bent them and did all sorts of weird little carvings and pokings. And then I used like a green glaze, and then after I brought it home I realized I really disliked this piece, so I added on some like copper acrylic paint, and I do like it a little better now. I think I might add a little more, just so that one day when I have a house or an apartment, I can actually display this and feel proud of it. We're jumping ahead a little bit here to fall of 2023. These are some of my watercolor paintings. I'll have more to show you guys in a second here, but one of the assignments in my watercolor class was to create 10 small personal paintings, and they were due in like clusters throughout the semester. So I'll just really quickly flip through these. Some of them are good, some of them are kind of meh, to be honest, but it was really just about creating art and experimenting with the medium. This one was just like a funky little farmer's market thing. I had some out of stock areas because some of my local grocery stores seem to not keep their shelves really all that stocked. Like they'll have like empty aisles and things like that. And then this one was literally just like the impression of like plastic wrap on a paper with watercolor kind of spread on it, and then I outlined the changes in like the paint and where it sat with like a pen. This was a blood orange and some little flowers and blossoms. This was actually the first one that I turned in, and I did really like it at the time. This one was like inspired by one of my guinea pig's eyes, because at one point I was trying to take a picture of her in low light, and it was like really early in the morning, and so my flash went off. I didn't know my flash was on, but yeah, the poor pig, poor Myrtle. But then I just painted them kind of stylized, and then like, you know, brushed across some colors. That's really it. And this is a rose on an envelope. Part of this assignment was to create artwork on like different pieces of paper. This was a funny little tree that I drew. I was driving a lot in the fall, like just traveling all over the place. So a lot of the trees that I saw along the sides of highways looked like they were either dying or they'd had like branches trimmed recently. And that just kind of stuck with me a little bit in my brain, so I thought I'd draw this funky little, I don't know, like pine or spruce tree. And then this one was like supposed to be like a butterfly or fairy's wings pinned. Like certain scientists obviously pin specimens of bugs. I just thought it was an interesting concept, that's all. And then this was supposed to be like birch trees, but like abstracted, because half our paintings had to be abstract too. And then at the end of the semester we had to pick 2 of our small paintings to cut mat board for, and this was one of them. This is on like Yupo, and if you haven't played around with Yupo before, it's basically like this Japanese plastic paper that doesn't absorb watercolor. The watercolor just dries on top of it. It was fun to play around with. I would probably never use it again, just because it's like way too specific. Like, you can't paint anything representative and have it look remotely realistic on Yupo. And then when I painted this one, I was actually watching like a video essay breaking down all. It's also painted on a Walmart bag, so that's kind of fun. I liked having the like raw edges like visible within the frame of the mat. I thought that was pretty fun. Now I'll show you guys some of my like regular watercolor assignments, not the small paintings. I'll jump around. I have some really big ones that will not fit on my desk, or at least on the space that's cleared on my desk. So I'll have to show you guys this later in the video, but I'll just show you what fits here now. This is a collage that I had to replicate on a larger scale, except not collaged. So first, we had to paint like just a whole bunch of different like techniques for watercolor, like dry brushing and using like salt, rubbing alcohol, whatever we could to create like different effects on the paper. Then we had to cut it up into like abstracted shapes and piece together a collage on like a backing. And then we had to recreate that as closely as we possibly could on a larger scale. We used rubber cement for this, and I hate rubber cement. It catches everything. It's got like fuzz on it. It's like stained a little bit. I hate rubber cement. This was actually one of our last assignments, so there are a couple things from watercolor that I haven't shown you guys yet that were done before this, but our assignment was to create like a piece of a map. We might have actually been supposed to leave these in the classroom so that it could be used in a future student's project, because they were supposed to be able to build off of them. However, I took mine. It's just like an ocean map. I didn't want to draw fields or roads, and that seemed to be kind of what was expected, and I was just like, I don't want to do that. I want to draw something colorful and fun, so I decided to do this underwater landscape with like this canyon-esque area. Our second assignment for painting in watercolor was to create like an altered landscape. So we had to get a reference photo and then change it a little bit and then paint it how we wanted. So here are some deer in between these awesome trees that I thought served really well as like a framing. This is like a public garden area. I really enjoyed creating like this like misty effect and some more trees in the background and everything. It is like way overworked, but you know, it was still fun. Then we had to do a self-portrait, so I chose to make mine like a weird parody of the Mona Lisa. So here I am in what looks like a mix between a Jedi's robe and like, you know, the Mona Lisa's outfit, and also like maybe something cozy and pajama-like. And also I'm in like a big cozy chair. And I didn't really want to paint my face. If I'm being honest, I really struggle with self-portraits for that reason. So I gave myself one of those like disguise things that cartoon characters wear, you know, like the glasses with the funny little plastic orange nose and the mustache and brows. I don't know, I thought it was fun. I really like this one. Before we move on to like the big stuff that can't fit on my desk, I wanted to talk about my 10 small paintings for painting 1, because we had basically the same assignment in that class where 5 had to be abstract and 5 could be representational if we wanted. And we were encouraged to use all different mediums and everything, and make them as personal as we wanted. We did have to buy these canvas boards for this class. They're Da Vinci art panels. I think they're birch. I only used 4 of them, and I bought 12 because they're sold in packs of 12. We weren't required to use those. It was just a part of our kit/shopping list. There's a lot of that kind of stuff in college where sometimes you can substitute things and save a little money. I wish I hadn't bought these because I didn't even enjoy working on them. I worked as much as I could on paper. For this one, I used this panel as like a palette, and then I painted black over it and added a bunch of glitter. I don't really like abstract paintings, to be honest. Whenever I have to do something abstract, I try to incorporate as much texture and visual interest as I can. But yeah, I have mixed feelings about this just because I'm not a fan of abstract. For this one, I painted it black and then I went over it with some like lighter pastel colors. I took an acrylic paint marker and painted this weird crystally web, and then used white gel pen to create a spider. It's kind of fun. These 2 were the first ones that I turned in for my painting class, and I had a lot of negative things to say about them. This one was like bubblegum clouds, and I did not like it. I didn't feel in the zone at the beginning of the semester. So, you know, some of my earlier work for these classes was not my favorite. And then this one is just painted pink with acrylic, and then there's glitter and like a little star glitter in each of these. I just wanted it to look like a very sparkly night sky. This one is of my guinea pig Millie. It's mostly watercolor, a little gouache, and marker. I just wanted to poke fun at the fact that she's like probably the smartest guinea pig I've ever had. She's like very manipulative and like watchful. She's one of the guinea pigs that like really, I don't know, she's very manipulative, for lack of better words. Like she doesn't squeak like basically at all, but she'll poke and chase at her sister Myrtle until she starts squeaking, and then I'll come over and I'll be like, what's wrong? And all of a sudden Millie's right there at the front of the cage looking for a treat. This one's just basically to fulfill that abstract requirement, because half these did need to be abstract. I tried to make it like very cubic and geometric and weird, and I don't know. My like classmates really liked this one, and my professor really liked it. I don't really like it though. And then this one was just torn up pieces of like a testing page that I used to doodle on at one point during my watercolor class, because one of my paintings I made for that you haven't seen yet was like Christmassy. So I tore that up and I put it over a background that I'd already painted, and I added glitter. There's not much else to really say about it. I don't like or dislike it. It's just done. And then this one was just like a very impulsive kind of doodle page that I really like. So I thought maybe I could respond to like the empty spaces I create with my doodles, to fill them up and create like this weird composition. And then after I had doodled throughout the page with Micron, I took some watercolor and just tried to kind of like weave throughout it. So we've got like bunnies coming out of a bag, we've got a jar, we've got some butterfly wings, like a mushroom island, some hot air balloons and stars, an elf girl, obviously, some like Alice in Wonderland type imagery. There's a guinea pig, and I guess like a weird plant, tree. Yeah. For part of this assignment, we were supposed to use like all different styles. So I used my own style and I turned it in. The main feedback that I got was to round this corner so that it echoed the other corners, and I do agree with that. It's part of the image that I don't like. Like, it's really something that I already noticed, so to hear that like said out loud, I was like, okay, and other people are noticing. I'll try to be more conscious of the shape I give my paintings. But I do really like it, and you'll notice this little possum character is kind of like Cranberry, the little possum that made an appearance in one of my shorts. And then this was the last one. This is Millie, and this is Myrtle. It's just my guinea pigs with wings. I thought it was really, really cute. I love my guinea pigs. I've had 3 in total. I had one that was like a single pig. You know, she lived on her own with me. And she was my buddy. And then after she passed away, I had it for 6 years. I got Millie and Myrtle, and they're sisters, and they're very cute. They're very precious. I love guinea pigs. They're the best. So these are my guinea pig bookends, and they were the final project in my Sculpture 1 class. This class was like a very like formative, structured kind of thing. You know, most of the classes in art school are like that, where they're like about fundamentals and experimenting with materials, and this particular unit in the class was about wood. So I did a low relief carving on like these logs, and then I did a white base coat and acrylic for each of the guinea pigs, and then I went over it with gouache to give it like color. And there's a little bit of white gel pen just for like the whiskers and little details like that. These are in my bedroom, so the lighting's not that great. But their names are Sir King Howard the 37th and Melvin. Obviously right now they're not really supporting books, but they can. I've tested it out. They can support a couple books or a lot of books between them, really depending on if they're paperback or hardcover or whatnot. Because hardcovers too tend to kind of hold themselves up a little bit, so they do hold those a little better, I think. Here's a little once over so you can see what they look like. I love how they finish each other, like they fit together really well. They were really like one of my favorite assignments that I've done in art school to date, just because like they're so cute, and I got like complete creative freedom and everything, and I feel like now I can mess around with wood on my own if I wanted to. So this painting is actually 3 feet tall. So to capture as much as I can in frame, I'm recording vertically. I'll do some close-up shots that are landscape, but yeah, our assignment was basically just a giant still life, and we were supposed to get it as like realistic as we could. Obviously I failed at that. I went crazy. I mean, like, and look at how slanted this is. That's like the one part of the painting that I like really wish I could fix. Like, stylistically, I mean, it's not realistic, but I do love it. And because it's like so weird, and I worked on this every day for like 2 weeks. There are some other problems too, like this side of the mirror is supposed to be wider, you know, than this side, but I forgot to really like paint that side edge because the mirror is like slanted just a little, so it looks wrong. Just like little things like that, like this bottle top is like not quite right. Obviously, I mean, you only have so much time for these assignments. This one, I think we had 2, maybe 3 weeks in total. And really, I can't display this anywhere because, like I mentioned, it is 3 feet tall. Like, I'm sitting down next to it right now, and it is literally taller than I am while sitting. This was another one of those assignments where my professor for the class just kind of looked at me like I was crazy. Pretty much because of this section. Like, I really focused on this section and putting like a lot of love into it. Obviously, you know, things are warped, but I do feel like I learned a lot about what I can get away with in terms of like, you know, like what's warped that looks good and what's warped that's not, because I do like the hatching up here. I think that's an interesting way to build shadow when you're struggling. And I love like all the like dots and smears and things in this area. Obviously, I can paint copper now, which is cool. At least I think I can paint copper. I think this looks pretty good. Or I guess it's brass, not copper, but and I'm a little better at painting roses. Roses are something I struggle with a lot because they tend to have a lot of shadows in them, but they're not like dark shadows, you know? Obviously, I learned a lot, and I did get to choose like a subject matter that, you know, I would enjoy painting. There's lots of pink and stuff. However, this assignment pretty much was torture. We are interrupting this regularly scheduled program to tell you to go check out my Etsy shop. Since fairies have overtaken my sketchbook and my life, my shop has become the ultimate fairy lover's dream. With products ranging from stickers, pins, and prints to original paintings, I've got it all. All of my stickers are printed on waterproof vinyl, and my prints are on high-quality, durable, matte photo paper. So if you're watching this video, there's probably a fairy that's perfect for you. Whether you're looking for stickers, prints, paintings, or pins, head to www.etsy.com/shop/MizukiArtStudio. Now comes where I get to show you guys my guinea pig chess set. This was a project for my other sculpture class. I mentioned Sculpture 1, like, for the guinea pig bookends, but I also took like another more like portfolio based sculpture class, and I made a chess set out of polymer clay. I am just so in love with how these guys turned out. They're so cute. Look at him. Oh my god. I gave the little knights like Viking helmets because I just thought it made them look more like little soldiers. I thought about giving them like little, I don't know, like horse hats, like horse masks or something, but this was just so much cuter, and all the Viking helmets are different. Like, these are my 2 little cream colored knights. I like this one because it reminds me of Rough Nut and Tough Nut from How to Train Your Dragon. I love the little rooks too. They're so cute. I don't actually play chess. Fun fact, I'm actually incredibly bad at it. Like, I know how the pieces are supposed to move and everything, but like, I have such a short attention span for that kind of stuff, and I get so bored so quickly. I'm just like, I can't do this. Which is really funny because the entire reason I came up with this project was because I wanted an excuse to sculpt like 32 guinea pigs, and that was what I got. These are 2 of the bishops, but I actually gave them like little pope hats because, fun fact, bishop hats on chess sets don't really look like real bishop hats. Like, they're similar, but they're not the same at all. Like, chess bishops have like this cute little like pom-pom thing on top of them, and then like real bishop hats aren't like that. So maybe this guinea pig war is around the papacy actually, and like who's the rightful heir or whatever, and you know, for some reason there's different sides, and I don't know. I actually went to Catholic school for like a year and a half, and in that time I like really got into my religion class. I am a Christian, of course,
But I did really get into like the sacraments and studying everything like that. So I wanted my chess set to have like accurate hats for whatever church related position I gave my guinea pigs. For some reason they have pope hats, so obviously something is going on with that. I couldn't figure out how to make the bishop hats look right in clay, because real bishop hats are like soft, kind of like, they're very fabric looking, like they look like fabric, you know, because they are fabric. But pope hats are a lot stiffer, and I just think I did not have the skill to properly structure a bishop hat with its two little like weird flaps, like front and back, in clay. So, you know, we got popes instead. Anything related to like the crowns or hats actually took me a long time to figure out, because it was like a balancing act between making it like detailed enough that it suited the style of the set, but not too detailed. And that was really difficult. Like making these little guinea pigs and like all the different breeds with their cute little feet and everything were really easy. And after I sculpted them and like baked them and everything, because they're polymer clay, I did like a base coat of whatever color, you know, cream for the white team, and then like black for the copper or black team. And then I went over it with another color. For cream, it was like a watered down brown wash to get in all those crevices. And then for this team, it was like a copper metallic acrylic paint. I just love the knights. Obviously, I highlighted the other team's knights, but I feel like they have to highlight this sides too. Look at them. They're so stinking cute. I love them. Something I feel like I really have to highlight is how many different breeds of guinea pig I involved in this set. Like, there's a reason this took me the whole semester. I just really got into it. So this is how I sculpted an English crested guinea pig with those low set eyes and like the ears that are like really close. And then like, of course, like the rosette. This is a skinny pig, meaning like they only have hair on like their nose and feeties, but obviously mine don't really have much going on for feet. This is an American short hair. This is a teddy. There's a couple different curly haired breeds of guinea pig, but that's the one that I had in mind. This is an Abyssinian guinea pig, which is like a long-haired guinea pig that's typically like a little bigger in size than your average like American short hair, and they need more vitamin C. They're very cute. They have like they have tufts of hair that kind of go in all different directions. They're very cute. And then this is a Peruvian silky. These are the types of guinea pigs that you usually see in like guinea pig shows. They're the long-haired ones. They're all beautiful. I want like all of the breeds in real life. Like I want to collect them like Pokemon. When I set them up, I like to have them slanted like this so that you can kind of like go from the front and see all the different textures. The light isn't very good in here. I'm sorry, guys. I'm at my dining table. For the most part, this chess set lives in here. This is just the box that I like, or box, it's a plastic bin, that I carried them back and forth to class and to home with me, and it's where they spend most of the time, which is pretty sad, but right now I don't have anywhere to really display them. Obviously, though, I love them a lot. They're all super cute. They just look so cozy. The board is just a chessboard that I bought online, and I repainted it, wore it down, sanded it. I sealed it, but the sealant made like this cloudy effect. It doesn't look bad. It's just not what I was going for. And then out of some birchwood blocks, I used a Dremel and an X-Acto knife to carve these little feet that I just glued on with a little wood glue, and painted to match the board. We are in another room again, so the lighting's terrible and the positioning is really awkward, but this is another assignment from painting one. There was actually a collage that went with this, that I was supposed to like replicate all the colors and everything and try to get everything as close as possible, but I have no idea where the collage has gotten to, but some of the colors were pretty close. Like this was very close, this was very close, and then others were just like
entirely wrong, particularly this piece. And I think that has something to do with the fact that I was just learning how to use oil paint. This was like our first assignment, so it's pretty rough. Like there's tons of like white patches and like parts of it are shiny. It's pretty awkward. Here's a full view of this thing. This was a watercolor assignment, one of our last ones actually. It was to create like a pattern that could be used for wrapping paper, and we did that by creating these 6x6 squares paper with like graphite on the back and like traced them onto the page. And prior to that, these 6x6 squares had been like cut up and reassembled in such a way that they repeat. My bigger pattern is not perfect because I had a really hard time getting the graphite to stick onto the page, and then during the painting process I had a hard time seeing what had actually been transferred. So there's things like missing. Fortunately, it didn't come up in critique, so I don't know if anyone noticed, but like there is a candy missing somewhere in here. I can't even find it. But it's missing. Oh, here and here. There we go. But I went with a Christmas theme. I did consider some other patterns, like one that was like all bows, and then the other was like Alice in Wonderland. But at this point in the semester, I just really wanted some good Christmas vibes, so that's what I went with. You guys saw that watercolor collage earlier in the video. This is the big painting that went with it, and it was our first watercolor assignment. I have no idea where I set the collage since. I'm pretty sure it's in a pile of my school paintings, but I don't know. But I think I did a pretty decent job. This video has been pretty much like the opposite of sequential as far as my like experience with college goes, but this stack is all of my drawing one works from my first semester of college. It's not in order, but I mean, this is a pretty early work. It was just our assignment was to like replicate our features like onto a piece of paper. I think we had to do like 4 or 5 ears. Looks like I did 4. And then like a few noses and a few mouths, a few eyes. I had fun with this assignment because I'm not so good at putting features together like realistically, but I feel like I can do a pretty half decent job with like individual stuff. I do remember struggling with the noses though, because in my style I really do like change up the noses quite a bit. Like they're not realistic even in the slightest. But like I'm pretty proud of most of these ears except that one. I really did not like that one. I was like, that is entirely wrong. And these eyes are pretty decent too. And then we were just supposed to practice some mark making techniques with graphite. This was a pretty cool assignment because even though I consider myself like a person that really loves line and using line in my drawings, there's so many more ways to create texture than you might initially think of, and so many variations on like organic line making and like just, I don't know, like scribbling even. Like it's just so interesting. A lot of our earlier assignments had like a focus on glasses because it's something that's like pretty hard to draw even though you see it like every day. And we worked a lot with like reflections and shadows and things like that. These were fun and interesting, and obviously I struggled a lot. You can see all the erasure and stuff. Here are some more graphite drawings from earlier in the class. We had to do like these dog bone things and then also like crumpled paper. Obviously this is like a lot of like trying to capture different planes and stuff, because there's so much complexity in like even little objects. And if you get even a little bit of it off, it's going to look like it's an entirely unrelated object. This was another very early assignment where we had to like composite a whole bunch of ellipse based items, like items with little circles. And this is where you kind of learn like this ellipse should have the same kind of depth to it as this ellipse, and they should all be kind of symmetrical. So that was interesting. I struggled with some of them, especially in this general area. This was like a silhouette assignment with India ink. I chose like an ivy plant that my mom has. I feel like I skipped over a lot of details with this one because I was frustrated with using the ink, but I could be remembering incorrectly. So I almost didn't show these because they're like ugly. But we were supposed to like look at our hands and not look at the paper while we were drawing. And look at this. This is crazy. That one's I mean there's something going for it, but and then this one was just supposed to be like a self-portrait with one line. I'm not sure I did entirely well on this in this project. I think I got a couple like areas where I picked up the pen or something, but yeah, she's a little crazy looking, a little cursed. And then at one point we had to draw shoes, which is how I figured out I don't hate drawing shoes at all. They're actually pretty fun. And I really loved adding like line weight variation to this. This is so fun. I like this shoe a lot. I like this shoe a lot. I have one like this, like a pair of shoes like this with the little ribbon thingies. Actually, this might be a collection of my shoes. I don't remember. I can't remember if I did this at home, but I'm like looking at it, I'm like, wait a minute, I have shoes like that. I have this is literally my shoes. I don't remember anything from this semester or any semester. We also had to do like a very similar assignment with paper bags, and this one was in class, which is why the shoes seemed so like I thought I did them in class, and then I was like, wait a minute, those are literally my shoes. This was a very early assignment where we had to draw like a skull and then like build a face over it based on the features of the skull. And then I just decided to like add houses onto him because why not? I wanted to draw some houses. Yeah. This was one of my final assignments. It was like a giant still life project, except we could hone in on like one or two objects. And I chose this ice skate and like the fabric, and the fabric pattern was like a real challenge for me. I always have a hard time drawing patterns on fabric because my instinct is to like I don't know, almost like uncrumpled scrapbook paper. Like I just want to like paste the pattern onto the drawing and like not warp or bend it at all for like, you know, showing it actually in the space. I just want to like stick it on there and be done. No bending, no actual, you know, like 3D. You get the idea. But I eventually did like push myself to add some like little curves and bends. And with the style that I did these like charcoal drawings in, where it's like very sketchy and I don't know, like rough, it kind of works. And then this is my very ugly final self-portrait. That nose is so short. My nose is not that short, guys. You're just gonna have to believe me because I'm not going on camera. But like, whenever I struggle with something, I tend to kind of break the perspective of it in order to be able to draw it better. It's like I wanted like to a better look at my nose or something. It was like, let me just draw it this way. Like I know this about myself, which is why I do practices when I'm like struggling. Like I stop myself and I'm like, okay, I need to work on this in my sketchbook so that I can understand it better. But my nose just messes up the whole thing here. And like my eyes are like weirdly placed and my mouth is too big and, you know, my face is just too short overall. It's a weird drawing. It's a weird drawing. I feel like y'all probably just got jump scared by this thing. I literally thought I was done, but I have a whole bunch of more drawing one stuff to show you guys. So this is a skull from drawing one. I'm pretty proud of how this turned out, especially since I counted the teeth like to put in here.
which maybe, you know, shouldn't be shocking. Like, it makes sense to pay attention to what you're drawing, right? Especially when you're trying to learn from it. But like, teeth are not my thing with drawing. I struggle with teeth a lot. But this turned out good. At least I think it did. This is another one of those like form and line weight type of drawings. This one had like boxes and cups and cans, things like that. More shoes. These ones were not my shoes. Yeah, I wish I had a pair of boots like that, or like a pair of heels like that. Very cute. And this is like the last work that's notable from drawing one. There's probably a whole bunch of stuff like I can't find, but this is supposed to be like a bow, and we were supposed to capture all the little dips and stuff, like the lace patterning and little shadows. It's just supposed to be, what is it called? A contour drawing. But anyways, yeah, hopefully you guys get some idea of like what a course or a semester's worth of art classes would look like in terms of work. And anything that hasn't been shown in this video will be probably shown in a follow-up video next winter, because I do have at least, hopefully, just the one semester left. As far as I know, just the one. So yeah, there will be a follow-up video, and anything that wasn't shown here for some of my classes, like there were some pieces that I couldn't show. So if I was like, oh, drawing 2 seemed a little light, well, that's because I took drawing 2 this spring, and some of that work is on display at the school, and I will show that in a follow-up video. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll catch you guys next time. Bye. I know I already said goodbye, but real quick before I go, I want to give a thank you to my Ko-fi supporters. Thank you so much to Ashley, Savvy, and Tiffany. Your guys' support means the world to me, and it allows me to keep making videos just like this one. If you want to join my Ko-fi tiers, there will be a link in the description box below where you can get all these benefits and so much more. Thank you guys again, and I'll catch you guys next time. Bye!